Why, hello there, sinners, and welcome to another sermon. And yes, this edition, I'm in fucking pain. Don't ever say I don't do anything for you, because I probably shouldn't be streaming right now. I'd probably be lying down and crying. But it's fine, because I am I was going to say good streamer. I was going to say diligent streamer. I'm a streamer. I'm a content creator, and my own health is only secondary to the enjoyment of my dear viewers. So never said I don't fucking do anything for you guys. Honestly. The things I do for you guys. The things I do. But, that being said, welcome in, dearest sinners, as my head slowly crushes me from the inside out, and I question my life choices. And life choices of many other people, because yes, I intend to. Oh, hello, Nyatia. You invading us with Maxwell? Yes, you are. How are you doing, my friend? I'm playing the audio for the moment. Yes, I am. Good. Sit there for a second. Hopefully doing well, my friend. How's the camera situation? Have they finally shipped you a new one? Speaking of cameras, I've got an entire rant today. I've got a rant I'm saving for today, and it's a good one, I think. Maxwell is indeed love. Maxwell is the opposite to what I feel against family channels. You have family channels, and you have Maxwell. Maxwell is love. Family channels hate. And I hate family channels. That was a really awkward segment, but fuck it, we ball. So, you know how family channels are terrible, right? They're the worst. What if I told you there was something even worse than just a family channel? A family van channel. Yes, an entire family living in a fucking van. Like, what? What? Just imagine that for a second. Imagine you, a small individual, child, living in a crawl space big enough to maybe fit the average sized chihuahua standing up. And you're told to lie in that bed and live there. And even better, if you're in that situation, most likely your parents are reproducing like mad. Which is good. I'm going to trade in for a new one on Saturday. Nice. Nice is nice. Hey, we're going to see you getting the camera sorted today. And hopefully in good time before the model debut, eh? So we'll have a nice, good camera for a good debut. Have you decided when that's going to be, by the way? Or are you just waiting on the camera? Or the model? I was going to say, if you know when that's going to be, I'll see if I can make sure I'm there. If I can. Or at the very least, I will look out for your tweet and make sure to send that through the heavens. Debuts on a big day after all. I should know two of the fuckers. Oh, but you don't always need one, to be fair. But I always think you might as well if you're doing it for a little bit. You know, doesn't hurt if you do it the right way. I think as long as you do it the corporate way, you should be fine. Where was I? Ah, yes. So, family van channels. You just shove an entire family into this fucking van. And you might think to yourself, hey, wouldn't maybe, I don't know, the parents have maybe one or two children at most, or none, because, you know, they're living on the move, they can't get an education properly. No, we're talking about very unintelligent people right now. They will just keep reproducing and producing and producing like a fucking factory. Like, I swear to God, they must think having kids is like Factorio, you know? Or Satisfactory. Honestly, sake. Well, that's an analogy for you. There's a kids like Factorio. But, like, you don't have to necessarily, you know, just going down nuts. I was expecting an unrigged model 2 weeks ago. Haven't heard anything yet, so I'm pinning us the 13th. That's fair. I think every now and then you've got to just give them a nudge, right? Just to make sure that everything's working out. I never like to super bother them, but unless it's a Skeb style thing, but I think to myself every so often I've just got to give them a nudge, because at the end of the day you've paid money for that, right? You have paid money, and I think there is a very small sect of people who don't understand that if a client pays you money, you owe them something now. And sometimes I think as well, occasionally someone will just get lost in the source and they'll just forget to update you. So I think, you've got to give them a kick every so often, just go, hey, how's it going? Are we going alright? As you say, you're waiting for an unrigged model, so then you can go find a rigger, which that's going to take its own time. That might take even longer in some respects. Depends how quick they are at the rigging process. My experience is very different from a lot of people's, I imagine, because Foxes, who made this model, is scary quick at rigging. To a very good, to an insanely good standard. I think the rigging part of this model did not take her very long, in the grand scheme of things. But again, I think it depends how experienced they are with rigging, and it depends what kind of rigging you're doing. I know we see that Kevin, for example, with all the bounty rigs, he's got a couple of templates, but even that probably takes a bit of time. And then a lot of the other riggers have slightly slower processes because they do quite a detailed rig and they really work with the artist sometimes to make sure it's the proper stuff. So it can really depend on what you have to, and how many things they have to rig, I guess. But yeah, definitely give them a nudge every so often, because you've spent good money on that. The least they can do is keep in the loop, and I don't think they mean to not do. I like to think that they've just been working hard and just forgot to drop your line. True. I don't want to be supervised too closely because you're just basically working for free. Oh yeah. Ah, right, got you. Yeah, I mean, even if it's free, right, it's okay, it's still good professional standard not to screw over somebody you're helping out. It just doesn't look good, right? So, I get what you're saying, though. Especially if they're doing it out of kindness, which is very kind of them to do. Because doing art for a VTuber model, that's hard. That is hard. I mean, you look at me, the different moving bits I have. That's a lot of stuff. And each bit's its own little layer. It has to be animated and all that shit. You have to make sure that the art's in a state to be animated. So, it's a lot of hard work. But, yeah, still definitely give them a nudge. Just to make sure everything's going okay. Because you probably need to know, when can I reasonably debut this? And if they give you a date, it's only reasonable you'd expect it to be done then. I'm sure there's been some delay, and it's pretty explainable. So, I'm sure it'll be fine, buddy. I'm sure it'll be just fine. Yeah, no, I mean, my original model was a bit later than originally expected, but I mostly, maybe I was a bit too blasé with when I used to nudge, but I left it till after the deadline on Fiverr, and then I was like, okay, any update? Because I figured with VGen and Fiverr, there's hard deadlines that the sites put in place. It's why I recommend using those sites. I know some people have a bad experience with Fiverr, but in my experience, it's pretty good. Personally, anyway. I can definitely point some people who like good prices who art and rig. I got scrammed and Giuseppe is making the art for it. Ah, okay, so you already have a rigger in place. That's pretty good. Oh shit, yeah, I remember you mentioning about this. Yeah, there's a lot of that at the minute. There's a lot of these scammers who just wander around. It's why I have such harsh rules against them. If I recognise someone's trying to hit me with one of those, scams? Oh, that's just on-site. It's on-site with those people. If anything, there's a very malicious side of me that's been tempted to log their names and just make a list that's publicly available of the aliases of these people, just as like a do not touch them with a barge pole, genuinely. And if I found out they were on like Fiverr or bloody VGen, I'd just go to the sites and go, hey, they've scammed people, or they try and scam people. I haven't gone through with it, but part of me thinks I should, because I think people who do art scams, they're just scum. They're just utter scum, and they just all those legitimate artists who work so damn hard, you know. Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they're trying to make it the best damn thing they can do, because VGen's pretty good for, like, there's a barrier for entry. So you've got to earn that, to some extent. And I can appreciate why they want to go on VGen. VGen has an air of legitimacy to it that most of the sites don't have. So, yes, it's more expensive than Fiverr, definitely, but in my experience, I've had good experiences with Fiverr, don't get me wrong, right? But I've heard a lot of bad. And I think I generally look at VGen more often now. Don't get me wrong, there are some good people on Fiverr. Hell, when I first discovered Foxes on Fiverr, that's where I first discovered her. But I commissioned it through VGen. Same prices on both, it's just I wanted to use VGen instead. But yeah, I definitely don't. I would never recommend like Twitter DMs, because Twitter's a cesspit and it's just dodgy as shit. Also, Twitter does not protect you against that sort of stuff at all. Oh yeah, 100%. Like, you've done. I think you've been pretty reasonable. You've been pretty reasonable. I might have given nudge on the day myself, but I think what you've done is perfectly reasonable. You've been patient. You've been, well, understanding, and it's only fair that you ask, hey, just how's it getting on? And hopefully it's just, oh, there's a few little bits, I don't know how many VTubers they've done before, because as I say, it's a bloody difficult thing to do. I mean, if I zoom out myself, right? Like, little old me here, right? Every single bit has had to be hand done, each layer, the physics, all that stuff. The wings, the halo's even animated, like, obviously mine's quite complicated, but still, even like a fairly quote-unquote basic VTuber model, which there isn't really such thing, but, pretty, like, my last model, my OG one, was a lot more simple than this one, but had a lot going for it, and with the right kind of, like, setup, like with the iPhone, if anything, I got like a whole new model out of it practically with that, because it worked even better. It was very expressive. So I can attest that even a more basic model, there's a lot to it. And obviously, if it's going to be V-Bridger ready, that's a whole other angle. V-Bridger lets you do like the puffy cheeks and all that sort of stuff. But even without that, like I say, there's a lot. So, yeah, though, as I said, as I've repeated many times, I think you've been very reasonable there. So hopefully you get some good news from them. If anything, who knows, maybe they've passed it to the rigger and just forgot to tell you. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it's just still working on it, right? So, on this one, this model, Max Photo, I can send you a couple of previews. If you want to. Only if you want to. But I'm mighty curious now, but only if you want to. By all means, I'm more than happy to wait like everyone else to get a surprise, but it's totally up to you, my friend. Don't you worry, I will not show another soul. You have my word on that one. I'd like to think I'm a person of my word. I'm an angel of my word, so to speak. I'm gonna keep my flask here. That's more reachable. I have, for once, decided to keep myself actually bloody hydrated. Imagine that, eh? I actually have a flask on me. But yeah, I've seen a lot of like. There's just been. I remember there was a long stream of just like multiple people coming out about this kind of thing happening to them, and it's just. It's insane. There is a pretty good guide I've seen on Blue Sky, actually. I forget the person's name now, but they made a good guide for spotting these kinds of people. It's such a good guide as well, and I know I retweeted it on that site. Blue Sky is a funny site, I must admit. It's like... I don't know how to describe it. It's not as fucked as Twitter pre-Musk, but also not as fucked as Twitter post-Musk either. It's got a bit less functionality, but they're slowly bringing it up to Twitter standard, which... It's got 10 million people on it, and I use it. I don't use it as much as Twitter, because a lot of the people I like aren't on there, but I'm finding people now and then. But I rate the site. At the very least, I make sure to promote myself there, and, you know, got a bit of following out of it. But it's not a bad little site, in my opinion. Ooh, let's have a little, oh, very nice. Very, very classy indeed. Hell yeah, that looks real, genuinely, that looks really classy. Holy fuck. I'm afraid to my sinners watching this, you will not know what I'm looking at. All I will say is Nunyatia looking damn fine. Would, 100%. Looking damn pretty, if I may just say. Ah. No, well, hopefully it's not too long, eh? Won't be too long before you'll be able to strut that off in front of everyone. And if I can be there, genuinely, I will try and be there if I can. Genuinely. That looks fucking beautiful. Oh, God. Apologies for coughing. Ah, no problem, no problem. Listen, I'm always going to compliment a beautiful VTuber. Like, some people will be weird with some people's VTuber models, but look, VTuber models are a work of fucking art. They're a work of art, and to be able to do that shit is fucking quality. And, like I said, that just looks pretty damn good as well, so... hopefully it's not too much longer, and you'll be able to get it rigged. But, I mean, I imagine that's an early draft, but it still looks pretty good. I assume that's, like, pre-rendering, I'm guessing? But, still, that's, like I say... But hey, that's gonna look good, man. That's gonna look damn good. Sorry, my brain's like malfunctioning from the pain. Ooh. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have this. This light is... There's one thing I will say, with a webcam. Do you have like a little ring light or something? Because I would recommend, especially for a webcam. You can kind of get away with it with the iPhone camera, but with a webcam, you want a bit of light on yourself. Which is fine if you're not like me and like sitting in the dark. If you're someone who likes light, then you should be fine. But I like sitting in the dark. I should be sitting in the dark with this headache, to be honest, but hey, it is what it is. That reminds me, speaking of things that have been giving me a little bit of a headache, I want to just look at something real quick. Because I've been very torn, you see. I've been really, really torn. On that last video I did. I'm not sure on it. It's done okay. comparatively to my other videos, it's done okay. But I suppose my issue with it, I'm never too sure about it. Part of me thinks, well, a part of me thinks, is it the kind of content I want to go down? It's definitely quite harsh in comparison. For anyone who hasn't seen it, on my main channel, I've... Ooh, with the preview, is that considering the situation, you probably see why. Yeah, no, of course, absolutely. I mean, you've had previews, which is good. That's a damn good thing, and I can only imagine that's helped the confidence significantly. You know, they're doing it for free, and they're even making sure you got previews so you can see what stage they're at. I bet you they can just quickly show you where they're at currently. Like I say, I wouldn't be shocked if it's at the rendering phase, and that's why it's taking so long, because rendering takes a fucking age. It's why a lot of artists won't change stuff after rendering, which is perfectly fair, because rendering's a fucking big boy step. Yeah, that latest video, I'm unsure. On one hand, it's a different aspect of content, and I like watching commentary. And I've avoided talking negatively about VTubers, because personally, I don't want to get into VTuber drama, but also I recently got showed a video by Rouge, which talked about how a lot of these drama channels are kind of dirtied the VTuber name a little bit. A lot of people. Like the fucking Niji drama coverage. Like, some people blew up off of that, but I do wonder, in hindsight, whether it was... It definitely worked for some people, but it's like, you're coined into that content now. There's no escaping that anymore. Maybe with a different channel, but then you've got to start over again. So, I'm very hesitant. Part of me wants to make another lore video and just move on. Part of me wants to go down that route. Like I say, I really don't know. It's funny. Because I know if I was to do another video like that, I would want to script it more. Because I didn't really have a script for that first one. I had a topic, being ego. I had some people who I felt had a massive ego problem, and people who I thought were good examples of those who did not. You can probably guess the kinds of people I reference having an ego problem. You know, the likes of KSI, for example, and that kind of thing. And I'm just going to briefly... Because I used to watch KSI, by the way. I used to actually really like his content. I used to enjoy his personality. I'll be honest, I did. He had a really funny personality back in the day, and I really liked his stuff. It wasn't always for me. The sports end of things he did, wasn't huge on, because I'm not a football guy. But I liked a lot of his stuff. I'll be honest, I did. But recently, I don't know what's happened to the guy. Like, people mention him more than the other two, but it's like... Logan Paul has always been a fucking sociopath, and Mr. Beast, I didn't watch him before, and to be honest, I don't know what to make of him, really. There's allegations, but they're just that, right? They're allegations. I don't really know how valid they are, and I feel like a lot of them are a bit... I don't know. I think the guy should just make a fucking response, and just... Because all he's doing is letting the rumours fester. But, you know, and he clearly seems like he's quite media trained. Whereas I think the reason everyone's so on at KSI is, one, the guy frankly made a mountain out of such a nothing. Like, one YouTuber calls you out. So many called you out, but this one is the one that stuck in your head? Really? Come on. For as long as he's been doing it. It's why I turned around and very bluntly claimed I think he has an ego problem. I think it's a good thing for someone to shine light on that stuff, which is why I keep with... Yeah, Remia, yeah. Lydia Nakazawa. Lydia Nakazawa. Have I seen that name? Rima, I'm aware of. Yeah, exactly, that's the thing. That's the thing. I wanted to give it a whirl to see how I feel about it. I mean, the main topic of the video was ego, more so than those individuals. But I did take some shots. I won't sugarcoat it. I took some fucking shots. I wasn't nice about it to him. I did refer to some of their behaviour as pretty pathetic, and I stand by that. I just want to be clear. I stand by that assessment. But I don't know if it's the kind of content I want to go down. Because, like you say, there are already people doing that, and maybe commentary isn't the right angle for me. I watch a lot of it, but whether I can produce it is a different question, and whether I enjoy producing it, because I've been very conflicted. I almost didn't release the video. Genuinely, I almost didn't release it, because I wasn't sure about it. So, as you say, there's already people who are doing it, and, well, I don't know. My next video probably won't be that kind of thing. Most likely, it'll be another lore video. Actually, no, most likely, it will be a retelling, because I'm finally doing a game of D&D for the first time in weeks. And then the day after, I'm going to be in a Call of Cthulhu game, which is really cool. So, there's not going to be that kind of style of content next week anyway. Now, whether I do some shorts on top of that, I don't know. I've been thinking of doing some edited shorts at some point. So I can appreciate what they do for you. And some edited ones wouldn't hurt. What I do for those, no idea. But I might, if I'm not feeling too unwell Saturday, I might do that. It really depends on how I feel on the day, because, like I say, I'm pretty convinced I may have COVID. I'll be honest, I very well may have COVID. My head hurts, my chest hurts. I feel red hot for no fucking reason, so we'll see. It really depends. I mean, I'm not sure how long this is going to be, I'll be honest. Like, just before the stream, I was in, so much pain. And it's not great now, but with a bit of hydration and stubborn perseverance, a lot of fucking will, we might make it 2 hours. I figured I could probably do one of these, because I tend to do them shorter. I do not rate trying to work in IT while having a massive headache. That ain't fun. That sure as hell ain't fun. Okay, now. Something I've been wondering as well. I don't know about any of you guys, but do you also use Twitter like way too much? I must admit, I found myself scrolling a lot. It's just, it's been addicting, I won't lie. Just to sort of go down the list, and just respond and just read people's posts and shit, I don't know. I do it with Reddit a lot at work, but then I'm at work, I'm bored as shit when I'm like in my lunch. But, I don't know. I don't open Twitter publicly because, holy shit. Vtuber Twitter in public? Holy fuck, that you might as well say you're on Pornhub. Be an easier explanation. Genuinely would be an easier explanation to say you're just opening Pornhub. It's VTuber Twitter, well, down horrendous. Down absolutely atrocious. And I mean, same. But, you know, it's not it's not something you want to look at in public. Of course, to distract myself from the pain, the new Arknights update came out, but tragically, I did not pull the new person. Well, the new 6-star anyway. And I'm trying to save for the limited, so hopefully I get them then. Also limited, and then there's the fish guy, so... But anyway, enough of my gacha needs. God knows my deep need for playing a gacha tower defense. God. But no, I'm thinking as far as the like, as far as the video side of things, yeah, well, we're most likely not going to go the commentary route for now. I don't think. I think anyway. I don't know. I think as much as part of me's interested, like, I think to myself, the numbers aren't really like enough to justify it to me, because I think, well, what it'll do long term, and I'm a very long term person, so I think let's keep with my own thing. But I think I need to improve my own thing a bit. I've been feeling very low about my content a little bit, but I think that just means I need to improve. There's work that needs to be done, things need to be improved, and excuse me, and I think I need to reassess how I'm doing it. Like, it sounds stupid, but like the idea of the model doesn't have to be on screen all the time. That I essentially, it sounds stupid. Why wouldn't I think that before? But you know, you think, oh, VTubing, the model's always there, right? But what if it weren't? What if you sort of just treated it like that was your face? And so sometimes in a video, you wouldn't have your face on the show because you're trying to show something, right? It's a thought. It feels weird to say that, but there's little things like that might actually be worth looking at. Again, I sound stupid for not thinking this beforehand, of course, but you know, it's why I've been streaming for longer than I've been making videos, because like, one is significantly easier for me. Because let's be honest, you flick on live, you fire it up, you do your thing. Is there a bit of scuff? Probably. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to be just fine. 9 times out of 10. Easy. So, I just think, you know, I need to get better at the editing side, because as much as, like, I think Twitch in many regards has done better than I expected. I didn't think I'd be as where I am now. It's not got an algorithm. And I think to get the most as a content creator, I need to broaden my horizons a little bit and spend some more time on some more handcrafted content. Not just like highlights. I could create a highlight, probably. Wouldn't be too hard, but edited has a bit more effort to it. Like some from scratch. But, you know, at the same time, a good highlight can be pretty good with the right editing as well. So, you know, maybe I need to do a bit of that. I'm just thinking aloud at this point. My head hurts and the content brain kicks in. I must squeeze out all the content in my mind and somehow craft it into something. Probably. As soon as Games Workshop stops showing me things I'm interested in. Those Dark Mechanica minis, which do look very nice. It's just a shame they're itty bitty ones and not the full sizes. Because, you know, itty bitty ones are nice and all, but, you know, I think we need them, that full on, full fat, no holds bar, big one. You know. But are they likely to be, you know, small to full-size knight? Yeah, probably. Are they look cool as fuck? Yes, they will. You know, and they look very different to other stuff that they've done, but it looks like it fits. But it's like kind of it fits, but it's also wrong looking. Like they are obviously machines, obviously Mechanicum built, but they are these twisted. You can see why like the Emperor was like, nah, steal that shit, because these things are all run on like predatory AI and you know like hunting packs and stuff, and like sapient. Hell, some of them probably are sentient, wielding weapons of immense destruction. That is the last snooze I can use for a bit, so my apologies for 5 minutes when the ads turn up. I've done my best to warn them. Oh, excuse me. But genuinely, I've been dabbling a little bit into a Horus Heresy Mechanicum army. I've built like a good amount of the box. You know what, it's going alright. I'm about, I'll say halfway through painting up the ones I've already got. I haven't done as much fancy stuff on the rest as I did for the original. I kind of just forgot, to be honest. But, I don't know. I kind of liked the idea the Forces stuff was like, they just sort of got it from wherever they found it. You know, like all the toys they had were just wherever they got, you know. I'm thinking I was originally going for a Loyalist force. I'd reclaimed a bunch of like kit from traitors, but I'm kind of wondering if I'd just pull like a traitor force at this point. But like I could run it as a Loyalist force if I didn't include the traitor specific stuff. It's an idea. Lets me reuse it a bunch. Plus I get all kinds of weird and wacky toys that the Space Marines don't get. Which I just think is interesting. There's nothing more fun than looking at a player across the table and then just going, what the hell's that thing? And going, well, you're about to find out, and I'm going to shoot you with it. And that thing will probably do good damage. Sometimes mediocre, but sometimes pretty good damage. That's why I want these new crazy dark mech stuff to come over. I want these weird AI-driven mechs. They aren't like demon-driven yet, but I am curious what the 40k version of them going to be. They have like the spidery aesthetic, right? They've got like these like spindly legs with like these tentacles and weapons attached, and these big carapace-mounted guns and stuff, and underslung weaponry. And it's all really advanced, or just a walking murder machine that just runs in and just buzzsaws people with like saws into tentacles and stuff. Little eye stalks and things. It's just, oh, it's interesting. I don't know, they look so weird, but I like it. I like how nightmarish they look. You know, these just... Because they should, right? They were meant to be, like, forbidden by the Imperium. And if you played Space Marine 2, you've got a good idea of what the Imperium's willing to unleash. And what kind of weaponry they have. From the Bolter, which is, you know, 40mm armor-piercing fucking grenade. Or missile, really? A Bolter's more a missile launcher, really. They're insane. To fucking weapons that destroy entire worlds. And yet, these things were so bad that back in the day when they were willing to use more world-ending weaponry, they were like, nah, that's too much. Put it away. Now, the AI, it makes sense, because Men of Iron, which the Dark Age just had some of them, and they took over a world using them fuckers. Ripped the Iron Wing. They sounded cool. Them fuckers had all kinds of, like, weird, shady shit, because they were the first Legion. They got all the cool toys. They got all kinds of cool toys. I seem to remember they had, like, a starship which, unlike every other ship in the entire Imperium fleet, could just warp in right in the middle of a solar system. Which was a big deal. I remember specifically, were they trying to steal some... Oh yeah, they were trying to steal a starship-sized servitor that this one Forge World had. Yes, there are, like, some of the old Forge worlds back in the day had servitors that were like starship sized. I don't even want to imagine the kind of horror that those things were, because they're servitors, so there's a human in there somewhere. Or maybe even multiple. And their brains used to control the thing. But I didn't want to imagine what it was done to make that thing, let alone how powerful it would have been. That they required such an advanced, rare ship to deal with. But I'm guessing they're probably basing most of the Dark Admech stuff off of Scoria, who's this, like, scorpion man thing. Like, he's a mecha. He's like, his lower half's like a mechanical scorpion. Which, you know, is very different to the Tech Priest. I think the little scout drones have little, like, tendrils they move on as well, which, like, is interesting to me. I'm genuinely curious how those work. Like, they seem to link up with a bigger robot, but I'm curious what the full-size one to be like. I think they've got, like, a laser cutter melee weapon and, like, a ranged weapon as well, so... But they're bigger than Tech for all. Like, Ogren size, which is pretty big. So they're pretty big robots. I do wonder if I, like... if they do come into full size, if I should, like, either make them fit into my current Admech force, or make an Admech force around them. Because I do like the black that they go with the Dark Mechanicum, the black and red rather than the red and black, but... I don't know. I also quite like my Metallica colour scheme. My white and gold, and... my white, silver and gold, with a bit of red. With the shoulder pads and stuff. Maybe for the Dark Admech stuff, I do like red primary, white secondary. That could be interesting. Maybe I'd like use some spare bits to like augment a Tech Priest. Maybe. I don't know. In lore, Metallica didn't betray, but there's probably at least a detachment of them that did, because, I mean, it's not like they weren't being given the keys to the castle. Like, hey, do you want to, like, I don't know, have AI that you can use? Like, oh, yes, I do want AI. Great. Join the War Master. So, you know. A lot of... I mean, hell, the Fabricator General of Mars, the most esteemed Tech Priest in the Mechanicum, joined the War Master. Which, I might add, he's the head of their faith. So, if anyone was going to have a reasonable justification to go, hey, we should probably join these guys... Well, the equivalent of the Pope just said so. Right? The equivalent of the Pope just went, yeah, I'm with the War Master. But he launched it too early. It wasn't until the Horus got to the Sol system that he actually, you know, was able to do stuff. But other Forge worlds did break out. But Mars itself had some fucked up toys. Like, some real fucked up toys. So... I want to see what else they've got. I want to see it all. I want to see all the crazy shit. I want to see all that absolutely mad stuff. Genuinely. That's what I want to see. But, who knows, maybe we'll never get it. I'd like to hope we will, though. Because most things they seem to release in the mini version will get the full size. And as much as I like the idea of being able to use Titans realistically, I also would quite like to have the full-size thing. And the only one I could see maybe not getting full-sized is the Heavy Stalker, but then that one might just be like Big Knight-sized. So we'll see. But it looks cool. It has like wacky-ass weaponry, so I'm curious. Are we going to see any like Tech Priest to a Dark Mechanicum only? With like Xenos weaponry integrated, or like Arcutech stuff that just the normal Tech Mart won't have? I apologise if I'm going way over the heads of anyone who isn't familiar with Warhammer Horus Heresy. My apologies. I'm just an excitable fucking nerd when it comes to this sort of thing. And I'll be honest, when it comes to the Imperium, I'm a bit more interested in the old Imperium of the new one. Like, for me, I don't know, the new, like, the current age Imperium has some, like, good sides to it, but I don't know. There's just, I'm not big on, because the idea of what the Imperium in Warhammer 40,000 was, it was a dying thing, clasping onto life desperately and degrading. There was no advancement. They were clinging on to old stuff, and all the really good stuff was old because they don't make anything new. Now, it makes sense of Primarch turning up could cause a lot, but the idea that hovertech is now just standardized and the Mechanicus don't use it is ridiculous to me. Like, in the Heresy, it wasn't that standardized. I'll tell you who got hover tanks in the Heresy. The Custodes, the Sisters of Silence, and those land speeders. And they're kind of more like pseudo aircraft anyway, with a grav plate, but it's more like an aircraft. The Marines did get grav bikes and speeders, but they didn't get full on grav tanks. The Custodes are grav tanks because they're the Emperor's finest, the actual finest, the Emperor, not just like the Space Marines get called that, but the Custodes are actually that. They get the really good stuff because they deserve it, because they are built different and built frankly better. So they got that sort of thing. Now, yes, there was some esoteric stuff. The Sisters of Silence had I forget what it was called, but basically it looks like a submarine, but it has a cloaking field. But it can invert its field to become just this horrifying thing to deal with. It has guns, and it can disgorge a load of Sisters of Silence, which are no slouch. They're highly well trained, and they're all blanks. So you'll feel horrible near them, and if you're a Psyker, you won't be able to do jack shit. And they're extremely adept at killing sorceress types. Hell, even Space Marines can struggle against them sometimes, because, again, there are that many blanks near you. You'll just feel horrible. Like, they just naturally make you feel uncomfortable. Like, imagine the most uncomfortable people you've ever known, times 1,000. Like, you feel sick near them. You might actually vomit near them. You feel so unnerved by them. Because, well, they just have that presence to them. They have that aura. So as the kids said, they have that aura about them. And it's a real fucking shady aura. And, of course, they don't speak, which is pretty fucking intimidating. They actually use sign language. So, for anyone who wants a bit of mute representation, well, guess what? You got a whole faction for that, by the way. A whole faction who use sign language. They have two different types of sign language. One for in a battle, and one for not in a battle. Because, you know, if you're being shot at, you can't do the full signs, right? It's just do more simple stuff. More wider stuff. So that, you know, it's more obvious, but obviously it's more limited. They do also do, like, Morse code type stuff through speakers and stuff, but again, unless you know how to translate that stuff, you ain't gonna know what they're saying. Forgot most of my flask lost. Yeah. Like, they gave them some cool stuff in the book, but I'm curious if they're gonna need model stuff. Speaking of things getting models, the Dark Admech have been hinted for ages, so I'm really excited for them getting stuff. I'd like the Sisters to get some stuff, because they're cool. It's such an unconventional force. Like, the Thousand Sons are all Psykers, they're all blanks. And I think that's cool, personally. And I think now they have, like, jet bikes, I think? They have, like, a jetbike unit, which again makes sense, they work directly for the Emperor. I would love them to have some kind of jump assault unit. Or, like, a heavy set of armor that they wear for more, like, you know, it's designed for, like, more dangerous engagements with more powerful psychic beings. Oh, they can go toe-to-toe with demons, because of what they are. There's not many of them, because to get a blank, it's like 1 in a trillion. Now, obviously, there's many worlds, so that's doable, but it took a while for them to form. Because again, 1 in a trillion. And specifically, they took all women for that order. I believe all the guys who would turn out to be blanks were made into Calexis assassins. Some women were made into it too. But typically the Sisterhood will take those blanks. I think it depends on the strength of their pariah gene, to understand it. If it's certainly strong, I think they just get straight up moved to a Calexis because they need someone who's just like ungodly strong with that genetic coding. They get like a helmet. You might have seen them. They're the ones with the funny skull helmet with the massive device on it. That thing dampens their gift. But the thing is, it can be turned off so their gift can activate. And in fact, they can gather and shoot back the psychic energy. And they can be used against like non-psychers. They can basically turn invisible to a non-psyker. Like, it's horrible to be near them. But against a psyker or a demon, oh boy. Oh boy. Nightmare fuel. Imagine you're this like powerful sorcerer who can just fling people around, heal almost any damage, cast lightning from your fingertips. Your powers turn off. The lights go out. You can't use your psychic powers to sense them anymore. You're alone, and this predator is sniffing you out via your own psychic gift. And the closer they get, the more your powers wane, and eventually, if you're not strong enough, you may just not have the strength left to fight them because all your gifts are gone. Because against weaker psychers, they just turn them off. And even strong psychers, if it's a deadly enough blank, or enough blanks, that's it. Game over. Like, and to understand the whole invisible thing, it's not that they actually go visible, it's that you don't want to look at them. You just don't want to look at them, because they're horrifying. And in many ways they are, because they are literally, well, all the theories is they're soulless. They're a being with no soul, no shadow in the warp. You might wonder, are they good against Tyranids then? Yes, actually. They're really disruptive to Tyranids, especially their psychic beasts. So, now, the only thing I do find strange is they've never turned a Space Marine out of one. Like, they've never, like, turned one to a Space Marine, which I find really strange. I get it, they're rare, they have, like, unique purposes, and, like, the Inquisition like blanks. Like, Witch Hunters in particular. Very useful. But, to me, imagine a Space Marine blank. This, like, anti-librarian. They're very antisocial, because of how they are, but, like, this fucker would be able to just go toe-to-toe with a psychic creature or person. Fucking slaughter them. I mean, I guess librarians are pretty good at countering other psychers because they're incredibly powerful. Like, they get compared to Jedi quite often. I think out of them and a Jedi, a librarian would win. A normal psyker probably not, but a librarian probably would because of their raw power. And the Jedi can't use the Force in combat as well. Most of the time. Sith? I think the Sith would win that. I know, dodgy of me to say a Star Wars person would beat a Warhammer person, but I think a Sith would beat a librarian. A Chaos Sorcerer might be more their match because they're willing to go unrestrained. Especially a Thousand Suns one. Because they have psychic and sorcery. They are different. You don't have to be a psyker to do sorcery. But that would be more a fair fight. To a point, anyway. Don't know how they'd handle a demon. I think they'd probably do okay against like a lesser demon. Most people wouldn't be able to fight a greater demon though. But that's, you know, there's a reason the Grey Knights have like a mech suit to get into fight one. Even they need a fucking mech suit for that shit. A mech suit, and a damn good fighter. A damn good fighter. Because, you know, greater demons like this really powerful and holy manifestation of a god. Like, they're a direct fragment of a god. All demons are, but they are a big fragment. You know, a The Great Unclean One can literally turn an entire world into a rotten carcass. A Bloodthirster is one of the most dangerous fighters in the fucking universe. There was one in the Siege of Vrax that just got summoned, decimated an entire Grey Knights company. This was Cabanda, so he was a bit beefier. But still, he just literally, in a flash, flew over, decimated them, decimated a bunch of Space Marines, and looked for the last thing that could be a threat to him, which was a one Inquisitor with an artifact of the Emperor. And the only reason that Inquisitor won was he was augmented. Well, there were a few reasons. He was augmented, he was in really good power armor, and he had a sword empowered by the Emperor. By the end of it, he had to crawl out of his armor because his armor was crushed, his arms were somewhat broken, and, well, that sword was the only reason he won. He 1v1'd the demon, fair play to the guy, he 1v1'd it, but holy shit. That ain't a small thing to 1v1. That is not a small thing to 1v1 at all. They are, like I say, like greater demons. They also can do spell bullshit, especially a Lord of Change. Bloodthirst is an exception, they don't, but, you know, raw physical might. A Balrog looking motherfucker jumping on you with a great axe the size of a skyscraper. And that's not to mention if it was like Scarbrand. Fucker can swing his axes and just eviscerate entire cities. In lore, anyway. It's kind of cracked. But he's also just perpetually fucking angry, which, you know, makes him stronger, and his punishment, so to speak, is more just being cast out from Khorne's graces, but he's just a being of anger now, which, I mean, he's a Bloodthirster. Sure, he already was one, but, I mean, he's even more now. Unfortunately, he gets used as a dick measuring contest for most characters, like all aspects of Kain. Which is a shame because the War God of the Eldar was a beast himself. Here's a story for another day, perhaps. Perhaps. I think, my dear sinners, I've perhaps pushed my my luck a bit too long, and the pain started to come back in force. So I think before I start wincing on the mic, I will cut it a little shorter than I'd like. But I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be okay. But if I'm not, I might take tomorrow off. But I will keep you posted, I promise. If all is well, I'll have a nice D&D game on Saturday, and I can record a retelling of that the following day. Don't forget, I will be over at Zork's, and I intend to make it for that. I don't care how sick I am, I will make it for that. Because you have no idea how much I want to be a player again, because, seriously, it's been too long. I need to get on the DM chair once. At least once, damn it. But anyway, I hope you had a good time. I hope I've managed to do my best to entertain, despite my rather considerable pain I'm going through. Hopefully my ramblings were somewhat enjoyable for you. Now, I think I need to rest, for my sake at least. So, I wish you a very good night, sinners. Good day, or good afternoon, whatever time it is for you. Maybe even good morning if it is that early. I'll leave you now, please. Do take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you all, hopefully, tomorrow. Till next time, take care of yourselves, sinners. It's ta for now.